Welcome to M&T's Tech Talk about Smart Hub and smart cities and that kind of stuff. I'm just going to quickly hand it off right to Michael from M&T and Dave.
Great, thanks. Can you guys all see my screen? All right.
Yes, we can.
Yep. Okay, great. So smart cities, smart ecosystems. This is a tech talk presented by M&T Bank. Let's jump into it. Welcome. I'm Michael Bouillon. I'm a TDP in the Technology Development Program at M&T Bank. That's a 2-year rotational program. It's really great. You guys should check it out, especially if you're a senior in college. I am an alumni from Stevens Institute of Technology. Dave can speak, but if you can't.
There we go. Sorry. Hey, guys. I had a problem unmuting. So, hey, great to see everybody. We're looking forward to spending some time with you over the next 24 hours. So I'm Dave Hunt. I've been with M&T for 20 years. I'm a UB alumni as well. This is my 4th hackathon that I've volunteered at. Please reach out to us. We've got a lot of help that we can provide to you over the next 24 hours. So we're really excited to talk to you about this topic today and bring some other subject matter experts along the way. All right, thanks.
So what are smart ecosystems? I like to break up this word into 2 different words. Ecosystem, a complex network or interconnected system. An ecosystem can be anything from your computer to a city, to a nation, to your car. It's just a system that you can break up into parts. What does smart mean? Everything nowadays has smart in it. Smart actually means something. Smart means that a computer technology is utilized to make logical decisions based on data gathering in order to take action which mimics an intellectual human. So that could be anything from, a teapot, which is something that gathers data like heat and then makes a sound when your water is boiling. The term smart has been attached to appliances and devices to perform ancillary functions to make decisions. So in short, you take in data, you analyze that data, and then you make an action based on the data that you analyzed. SMART is also an acronym. It means self-monitoring, analysis, and reporting technology. As you can see in the image, a smart city has a lot of subsystems in it. Big data, Internet of Things, wireless networks, data protection, transportation, green buildings, parks, education, security. All these things are incorporated into making a functioning city. Who works on smart ecosystems? Short answer is everybody. Ecosystem can involve a number of different projects with a number of different skill sets. But there's one person that connects it all, and that's a systems engineer. A systems engineer is an interdisciplinary field of engineering and engineering management that focuses on design, integration, and the management of complex systems over their life cycle. At its core, systems engineering utilizes systems thinking principles to organize this body of knowledge. The individual outcome of such efforts, an engineering system, can be defined as a combination of components that work in synergy to collectively perform a useful function. So an example that I'm giving you guys is the M&T Tech Hub. Can you guys from this picture see how many different subsystems are in this just one picture?
So we may not be able to get a bunch of people to comment on the Zoom meeting, but if you want to put a message in Discord on the M&T channel.
Dave, there's a Twitch chat that they're answering questions.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So to give you guys an example, there's transportation. You can see the highway is right next to the building. Right below the building, you can actually see that there's a rail system going right under the building itself. There's also construction going on. At the top of it, you can see there's Wi-Fi towers. In the background, you can see there's the lake, the clouds, the weather, temperature are all things that contribute to the ecosystem of the building. So let's see. There's anybody can think of any other types of systems or subsystems that are around the building itself. Okay. Move forward. How to build smart ecosystems. First, we design. We design our projects around certain design principles that help us follow the correct path for our citizens and their ecosystems. So there's a lot of different design principles that you can follow, but for this presentation, we tried to boil it down to 4 different main principles. Ethics of location and community. You should always try to build your product for people and not for profit. That's the #1 thing that engineers and programmers should be doing at all times. Physical infrastructure and connectivity and information accessibility. We should be building things that last a very long time and are set for longevity and future growth. So things like the Empire State Building are things that last hundreds and hundreds of years and are going to last more hundreds and hundreds of years. Economic development, vitality, and sustainability. Promote sustainable financial growth and attract new investments. So the more things that you put into your smart city, the more people that are going to want to live there. And the more people that are going to want to live there, the more businesses that you attract, which creates financial growth for your entire city, not just for, just the small businesses that are going to want to move there. Privacy and governance. We don't want people to have our data. We want to make sure our citizens' data is secure. We want to make sure that when we use their data, we're not using it in an improper way.
Yeah, so just to add to that, so Mike, if you could go back to the last slide. So a couple of things to think about here when thinking about what kind of solution you would want to design or how could you contribute to a smart ecosystem. Part of this is as things you need to take into consideration for when you would come up with a design, but also these are things that the municipality or the area or the region needs to also factor in when they're building or setting up a region to be ready for this. So when we're talking about physical infrastructure, connectivity, and accessibility, especially, when we're building properties, you want to be able to future-proof some of the infrastructure elements when you're designing new buildings. Obviously, and like this is not something that we would think of when building applications or software or experiences to run in a smart ecosystem, but when making foundational investments, municipalities need to be able to future-proof this. Also, there has to be the mechanisms from a governance or a government perspective to be able to help the area with that economic development, vitality, and sustainability. So what types of programs can the government put in place to be friendly or facilitate new ideas that are coming or additions to that ecosystem? The reason why you would be doing this, which we'll get into in a little bit, but you want to be able to combine all of these together to make sure that what you're building is for the greater good of the community. And again, for the privacy and governance, make sure that you're understanding what data is absolutely needed, what data is generated. Just because you can capture something doesn't necessarily mean you should. And we want to make sure that we're being good stewards of any data that is being used, whether it's public or private or user generated or something that you integrate with. There's a lot of information you can read about. What we did was just attempted to summarize some things that we found. that would resonate most with you and resonate most with what you're going to hear later in the hour. So if you have any questions, just feel free to throw them in the chat, and we can also answer them as we go. All right, thanks, Mike.
Yeah, sure. Why build smart ecosystems? There are three main points to this. It improves the quality of life of the people living in your ecosystem, maybe a city or a building. If it's green spaces to a reasonable commute to access to art and culture, a smart city creates an environment or a smart ecosystem and creates an environment that promotes the best living and minimizes hassle in the lives of the people in it. Economic competitiveness. Cities themselves, like I mentioned before, the more competitive they are, the more businesses that want to work in their city, the more other businesses that want to go there as well. Having a good economic foundation creates a nice framework for businesses and cities to amass some wealth and get tax revenue from a healthy economic platform. Sustainability. Smart ecosystems have the big emphasis on keeping, being a steward to the environment and promoting sustainability through natural consumption of resources overall. When is the best time to start building? The best time to start building is now. Last February, Mayor Byron Brown pledged to make the city the nation's leading intelligent smart city. As well, Seneca One, M&T's new tech hub, is a great place for innovation. It's a place where technology reaches people. It's in the heart of downtown, and it's going to be the start of innovation of ideas. Seneca One is not dedicated to just one tenant, but a host of community of technology companies. It is an incubator that opens innovation.
Yeah, and just to add to that, you're going to hear a lot more about that when Sarah is going to talk in the latter half of this presentation. You'll hear a lot more about specific things about what's happening in the corridor, in the downtown corridor, what's happening specifically around the property, and also some really interesting things that are happening within the city and within activities that have resulted from Mayor Byron Brown's commitment and pledge last year. So this is actually happening. So what we want to be able to do is have you be a part of that, and we want to see how you can engage, learn more, and what ideas can you generate.
Where can I go to learn more about smart technologies? So we put some references on this slide for where you can go. In MIT Smart Cities class, they use this book called Smart Cities. It's a really good read, and it's fairly new. So you know that you're getting the newest technology when reading it, and it's not outdated. Some online resources that we have are a couple YouTube videos. One that goes into detail about Singapore and how they're using smart technologies to improve the lives of their citizens. Gentry Lee's, so you want to be a systems engineer. So this is a good panel and discussion about systems engineering and the importance of systems engineering. So if you're interested in that and want to learn more about that, that's a good video to start with. MIT offers a free course on user interface design and implementation. This is a great course for people that want to work with human-computer interaction, which is something that is very impactful when it comes to smart technologies, because you want all of your users to be able to understand the technology that you're bringing forth. Smart Cities and Management of Urban Infrastructures is a Coursera course that goes over kind of what we've been talking about so far on the slides above. Okay. So
what we want to be able to do is talk to you a little bit about our use case for this year. So now that we just gave you a little bit of a primer about some of the concepts and where to go to learn more about this, what we want to be able to do is talk a bit about what our use case is. So we want to see some ideas that you have around building the best hack to build a smart tech hub ecosystem. Learning about what the Seneca One Tech Hub has to offer. How does that interact with the overall tech corridor and the revitalization and transformation of the city of Buffalo, and also what activities are happening right now, sponsored by the city and also by the private business community. We want you to come up with your own ideas. So how can you show us how would you innovate this new exciting space that's being built out? So what we want to be able to see is how can you improve various aspects of the experience, whether it's for tenants of the building, employees of companies, whether it's for people that live there, whether it's for business owners that do business in that area, whether it's the municipality or folks that generally interact with the area. It's all on the table, and we want to hear from all of that. But what we want to be able to do is have you define what the problem is. What would you think your area of focus is? Who would it benefit? Why would that matter? And what outcome are they going to get? This is important because this is going to be a little challenging, but what we want to do is have you document some assumptions. You may not be able to test out every aspect of it, but document your assumptions and then understand what type of data would you need to interact with in order to meet or develop your idea further. The data sets can be industry provided. It can be there's resources that are available. Our mentors can help you if you need suggestions on where to go to look at particular sets of data sources, or you can create your own, either end user generated or something that's generated by a device. But tell us how could you generate some sample data, but tell us how you're going to use it, and if you were to implement it, how would you govern that data? Tell us a little bit about your solution. We want to hear about what tech stack you use. We always like hearing about how teams are solving problems. We want to see your demonstration of your app, and then you only have 24 hours to do this, which is it's incredible to see what you guys come up with in 24 hours. But if you had 24 days, if you had $100,000, what would you do next? So give us a little bit of an insight about what you would do to take your idea further. So what when we're going to be judging tomorrow, we want to see how well you kind of stitch that together and present your ideas. We don't want to limit what you can come up with, but we do want to share as much information as we can about the Seneca One Tech Hub, about what's going on in the municipality, and we really want to hear what your questions are. So please, over the course of the hackathon, hit us up on the M&T channel or the sponsor channel. Also, we're available in the mentors channel. You can direct message me. I'm on there, as well as any of the other team members with M&T Tech. Just do a search for us and you'll find us. But we're really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. Any questions so far? I mean, but keep your questions coming in the stream chat. But at this point, what I'll do is, Sarah, I will turn it over to you to talk more about the Tech Hub.
All right, that sounds good. And I can share my screen here. Got a couple slides to run through with the group. I think, there we go. Bear with me one moment. All right. And I just want to confirm you all are seeing a slide. Okay, I see some nodding heads. Great. Well, thank you, Mike, and thank you, Dave, and welcome to all the hackers that are participating in the UV Hacking 2020 event. You guys do such a wonderful job putting this event on, and I'm so excited to be here to talk about one of my most favorite topics to discuss, I really do believe Seneca One is probably one of the most meaningful things I will get to work on in my career here at M&T. So I love sharing the story with all of you. So as Dave mentioned, my name is Sarah Tampacucci. I am a proud UB alum. And I've been at the bank for about 5 years now. I lead our technology strategy and governance team, and I get to lead a team that is actually working on Seneca One. It is definitely a team effort, and this is a really exciting hack. So I am going to spend some time talking to you about the Seneca One space. We're going to walk through a bunch of photos to help you think about the innovations that may be able to be entered into kind of what we think about as the ecosystem of Seneca One and the surrounding downtown corridor. Hopefully it sparks some good ideas. So before we go there though, I want to talk about physical space, right? So physical space communicates something about a workplace, something about the employer, what they value, what they care about, who they are. Space sends signals, and that communication occurs whether the message is intentional or not. It tells a story. And with Seneca One, we are being very intentional. We are crafting a narrative with the space to send signals about who we are as a company, who we are as tech and technologists, and who we are as a community. So today I'm going to talk about our two whys. Why are we investing in the space for our teams when we look at Seneca One, and to attract technologists to the space? And why are we investing in the space for our community? Because this really is about more than just us. And so you get a full picture of this. I'm going to spend some time talking about the history of Seneca One. We're going to walk through some of the renderings and then show you some actual pictures of this space. So let's get started. I noticed a bit of a delay on the Twitch channel, so I'm going to pause here in between slides to make sure what I'm talking about aligns to the photos you are seeing. All right, so up here you have a photo of Seneca One. So those of you who are from the Western New York area, you know about this building, but let's talk about it a little bit. Let's talk about the history. 1.2 million square feet. This is a huge building, 40 stories tall, 529 feet up into the air. It makes Seneca One the tallest privately owned is important, building in New York State outside of New York City. So it was completed in 1972 at the cost of $50 million. Okay, so that was no small chunk of change in 1972. That's about $240 million in today's dollars. And over the course of its lifespan, it's housed Marine Midland, HSBC, the Canadian Consulate, Phillips Lytle. But by 2014, this tower was 90% vacant. Buffalo's single most visible building of its skyline was all but abandoned. It was really sad for our city. But in 2016, Douglas Development bought this building for $12 million, for roughly a quarter of the cost to build it in 1972. Can you even imagine? But he's put millions into it, and M&T announced that it would be the anchor tenant of this building in June of 2019. And the building has been evolving ever since then. So I'm going to show you a bit of a floor plan layout to help you orient yourself in this building as you think about the hack. So take a look here at the right side of the screen. So what portion of the building is M&T going to occupy? We're going to take about 350,000 square feet of space. And I'll start you here along the right-hand side. We have two 45,000 square foot floor plates that we're going to occupy, known as Pearl and Plaza. And that's down here on the right-hand side. Beautiful, large floor plates that when you think about agile teams, great, gorgeous line of sight across the floor. Then as you move up here, you'll see on the third floor of the building, there's significant common space where you'll find things like bars, a bar, an area to convene, a coffee spot, a food court area. And then M&T will be taking approximately 11 tower floors, so from 13 all the way up to the 23rd floor. Each of these tower floors offer about 15,000 square feet of usable space. Beautiful views, 360-degree views of the city and of Lake Erie. And the important thing I want to note here too is on the 23rd floor, we will have our M&T Tech Academy. Now, M&T is in the process of building out a continuous learning capability on behalf of its 1,500 or so technologists. but we recognize that we have this opportunity because we're building this continuous learning asset at such a scale to look outwards and see how this academy can be utilized by the community. So this is actually the only floor in the building that is accessible by both of the building's elevator banks. So we have one set of elevator banks that serves this set of floors here, so the M&T Tower floors, and a second set of elevator banks that serve floors 23 through 38, with the only crossover floor being the 23rd floor. And then for those of you who have been downtown and have seen, there's more space being built out here on the side of the buildings to accommodate retail, restaurants. So we're really creating this beautiful, vibrant hub in downtown Buffalo. So let's talk about the design of the space. How are we designing the space? We are designing modern, innovative, agile space for best-in-class tech teams and product owners. So these renderings are going to help you kind of understand the beliefs and behaviors that really went into designing the space. So I'll walk through these relatively quickly. But here you're seeing the workstation space. So again, lots of open space, the ability to see across the floor. You see that when we talk about agile teams, we're looking for teams 7 plus or minus 2 individuals that fit in this pod workstation formation. So you have desks that are sit to stand. It's really a space that encourages you to stand up, move about, interact with your team members and your colleagues. If you take a look at this next rendering here, this is a rendering of our ceremony space. So if you think about agile teams, they have traditional ceremonies that they do religiously, stand-ups, retros, and that really requires the team to get away from their desk, go into an area that inspires innovation, creativity, inspires you to move up, get around, put stickies on boards, whiteboard things. So we call this the ceremony space. And so for every couple or so pods, there will be a ceremony space dedicated to the teams that work there. And you can see the rendering here. I'm going to ask you to notice the furniture, very perch-like, right? We're encouraging people to get up, to move around, to interact with each other. Within each of our floors, we also have a cafe spot. So this is a place where people can, of course, grab lunch, interact in a different way. Maybe you pick your laptop up and instead of having a meeting in a conference room, you come here with your colleagues, grab some coffee, sit with your laptop. Again, you can see a really nice fluid space design that encourages people to interact and collaborate. This is probably my most favorite feature. So we call this the Grand Staircase. This exists between Pearl and Plaza, those two 45,000 square foot floor plates. And this is a space that is meant to make a statement. It's a place where technologists and innovators will gather for things like town halls. It's where you can grab your colleague and informally say, hey, let's hang out on the stadium staircase while we talk about this challenging problem. It is a beautiful feature of the space that will have some amazing technology at the bottom of it from a screen perspective to showcase a lot of the cool stuff going on in the building. And then finally here, I'm showing you a rendering of the Tech Academy floor, focused on allowing people to learn and grow. So the Tech Academy that we're building out is a modern, fully equipped learning space with everything from traditional classrooms to collaborative learning rooms to more traditional quiet spaces like a library, designed to accommodate as many as 100 learners in one place with state-of-the-art technology. And again, as I said before, it's the only floor in the tower accessible by the public, and that is done purposefully. M&T is investing significantly in continuous learning for its technologists, and also looking for that continuous learning philosophy to spread into the community, because as technologists, we are always students because things are changing so quickly. So now the question that I think is really important to talk about is the why. And honestly, it is this why that I get so excited to get out of bed every single morning and come to work at the bank. So if you think about it right now, our M&T technologists are spread over, I think it's more than a dozen buildings in Western New York, or were before the pandemic started. The decision to move tech downtown enables us to be a part of something much bigger than ourselves, to contribute in a very significant way to the revitalization of the downtown core. And we do this because at M&T, we recognize and appreciate that community is important. We are only as strong as the communities that we serve. So the reason I am so excited about Seneca One, and so many others are, is because we view Seneca One as the anchor, the foundation of a tech and innovation knowledge corridor that has the ability to spread all the way up Main Street through the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, energizing, supercharging some amazing work that's already underway to make Buffalo into a tech and innovation destination. And so if you look at the right-hand side of the slide here, you can see when we look at Seneca One, we look at it as a place of collision, a place where innovators and technologists come together. And it's more than just M&T. Since we announced the anchor tenantship in June, you see 43 North has joined us. 43 North being, of course, Western New York's premier tech incubator. Campus Labs is moving in. Udo, High Operator, SMP, lots of technologically driven companies coming into Seneca One to create this sense of place. And this is really important because if we were to reflect out and look at other regions and other tier 2 cities that are succeeding in making themselves into a technological and innovation destination, this concept of a corridor is really key. Think of Silicon Slopes, think of Silicon Prairie, think of Silicon Forests, right? There's a branding, there's an excitement, there's a buzz that brings technologists, innovators, and creative people to this sense of place and creates this sense of community. And I think it's really important too to know that M&T is not alone in this effort, right? So both Dave and Mike mentioned the race for place, and we dropped this slide on because into the presentation today, because Buffalo's race for place is actually about so much more than just one building. It's about advancing the city of Buffalo and Western New York region by supporting talent attraction for a modern workforce through the creation of innovation and attractive environments, both indoors and out, right? So this speaks exactly to the essence of today's hack and why I'm so excited for the hack, because your ideas have the possibility to impact meaningful change. So we have a white paper that the city of Buffalo issued that talks about a lot of the exciting things that they're doing right now associated with the race for place, including some of the work they're doing along the Main Street investment corridor, the canal side nodes, and the entertainment district nodes. So look for that in your package of material. All right, I'm going to walk you through very quickly here some actual pictures of the space. So we talked a lot about the beliefs, the philosophy behind the renderings, and the type of space we're trying to create, right? The type of space that allows best-in-class technologists to innovate, collaborate. And we talked about the why. This is about something so much more than us. So now let's walk through some actual photos of the space. All right, the first thing we've got here is the exterior. Totally new paint job. For those who are familiar with the building, you see this now rich terracotta color with black accents. And you see here some of the new space that was built out to accommodate retail space and restaurants. Now let's take a look at the main lobby. When you come up into Seneca One, into the third floor common space, you end up in this beautiful welcome entrance lobby way. You'll see here designed with some great furniture that encourages people to sit down, spend some time together in this great, beautiful space. The other thing you'll notice as you walk through the Seneca One lobby is some really unique decor that makes this building stand out and helps tell some of the story of Seneca One. So of course you've got the Seneca One gondola. I'm pretty sure we may be the only building in the United States to have a gondola that is custom named after the building. And you'll see here we've got a bar space, and this is the actual bar from the set of The Sopranos. So again, a space that's being curated to encourage people to come together. Seneca One is also going to have a main cafe section. So this building here shows pictures from construction. For those who follow the news here locally, the cafe section in Seneca One actually just opened with some restaurants. And again, a space designed to bring people together with a lot of cool, innovative food options. Now I'm going to walk us through a couple photos here of the Pearl level, which is still very much under construction, but I think it will help give you a sense for the space. So the Pearl level is that first 45,000 square foot floor plate that you saw in the earlier renderings. And again, you can see a lot of the open workspace here. So this is space that when completed will house some of the agile teams that we talked about and those workstation pods that we looked at in the first rendering. On our Pearl level, we are also building out a command center. So this is going to be a really world-class space dedicated to monitoring the health of our technology. So that's getting built out right now. And of course, what tech hub wouldn't be complete without an arcade? You can't really see the arcade right now, but here's the construction, the temporary wall. So this will be a space where folks can take a break from the day-to-day, come together with some pretty cool gaming space.
And
So
I
I'm
have,
looking forward.
and Sarah, I got some pictures of that too. I'll find it and see if we can get that posted, but it is going to be epic. There is an M&T Tech branded Super Checks game, which was like my #1 requirement. But we are going to have just a place to kind of hang out and blow off a little steam, but also have some consoles. We're looking into possibly getting like Raspberry Pis, things like that to try to tinker safely around with new technologies as well. But yeah, we're really excited to have that as an amenity to just do a little bit something to maybe clear a block in your mind, get yourself more creative, and there's a lot more aspects of the property that'll help you do that.
Thanks, Dave. I also believe Dave was on the design team for the arcade, so he's definitely the expert in this space. Very excited for this to get built out. I had mentioned the grand staircase. So this is a view here of the grand staircase under construction right now. And as you see the photo on the right, it's looking down the grand staircase into the Pearl level. And you see a bit of the imprint here where those really great screens are going to be installed. So you can really envision an event here with teams collaborating and coming together. All right, so let's move up to the plaza level, the premier agile space. Again, this is still a space that's actively under construction right now, but I think this helps you, these construction photos, visualize the openness, the vastness of the space. So we have a section here called the wedge, which is going to house more of that open workspace, more of those agile teams. You see that here on the right side as well. I'm pausing a bit because I see the delay on the screen here, so give it a second just to catch up. All right, here you'll see we've got some open workspace and ceremony space. So we're showing you the photos that very much mimics the rendering, right? So you can see the frame here of the space where the teams will convene for their ceremonies, have the ability to write on whiteboards and get together and convene. We also have a unique space called the Clubhouse that is going to be dedicated to M&T and hosting of special events. So I have some beautiful photos here that I want to show you. This is a really unique space designed for events, small group events. You can see that compared to more formal event spaces, this is a space that's really meant to be informal. You see the fireplace. It's meant to be cozy. It's meant to be a place where you come together and feel comfortable. You can see the bar area in the back here. And then, of course, it's also a space that's meant to be fun. That is very important to Douglas Development and also to the team designing the space. So here you see a bit of the hand shuffleboard. You can't see it in the photo right now, but behind there's a foosball court. So really a fun space that I'm looking forward to utilizing. All right, and finally, I'm going to walk you through some photos of the tower floor. Now, the tower floor represents our most completed spaces to date. So I'm going to pause here for a second. We are showing you a picture of the elevators very purposefully. So if you take a look at these walls, or excuse me, these words on the elevator door, these are really important words to us here at M&T: trailblazer, builder, maker, pioneer, owner, thinker, creator, revolutionary, explorer, etc., innovator, visionary. We pick these words to purposefully inspire our technologists. This is the vision that we have for the teams that work at M&T. So each tower floor is going to have its own unique bracket word. And this is just an idea of some of the vocabulary that inspires the space and inspires our teams. And as we walk through the space here, this is what you're going to see when you enter a tower floor. Here is an example of some of the ceremony space that is actually completed. Again, I'll spend a little time emphasizing the perch furniture that you see here. All of these walls are whiteboard walls to enable people to get up, whiteboard, work out some of the challenging problems that they deal with as technologists on a day-to-day basis. A couple more photos of the ceremony space. You'll also see here on the right-hand side some of those workstations in the workspace with the actual sit-to-stand desks, really representing what you saw earlier in the renderings. Again, a few more photos here of some of the agile ceremony space and workstations. We also have spaces that we call huddle rooms. So these are spaces where teams can come together in an area that's a little bit more private than some of the ceremony spaces. And what I will note, what is very interesting about the design of the Tech Hub too, we have about 1,600 spaces that are dedicated to team members, but for almost every single dedicated seat, we have an open collaborative seat. And again, this is really to encourage flow throughout our spaces and that kind of collaboration. I'll click through a few more of these photos here, more of the conference rooms. We have small, medium, and large conference rooms that are going to be equipped with tech and best-in-class video. Also, here is a photo of the kitchenette. So this is the cafe section, mimicking what you saw in those renderings as well from a design perspective. And then because of this tack, we're really giving you some of the more technical photos, or more detailed photos, I should say, that we might not otherwise share. So I'm showing you photos here of the water filling station. You can see some of the printer, MFD, and utility rooms as we walk through some of the space here. On every other floor, we will have wellness and nursing mother rooms as well. So this is an image of those. And then, of course, for those times when you do need a little bit of privacy, we will have phone rooms as well. So you're seeing photos here of that space before the phone rooms are built out with furniture. All right, and then I'll land here on the final two photos that are labeled "Check out the view." We'd be remiss in showing you photos of the space if we didn't share the gorgeous views that you get from the tower floor of Canal Side and Main Street. So you'll see those photos here. And then, of course, for those of you who are fans of baseball, you get a great view of Salem Field as well. And if anybody followed the Toronto Blue Jays, of course, you know that they were playing out of Salem Field this fall. So these photos kind of provide you with a rundown of the space to hopefully help you appreciate the space that you're designing for folks who haven't been able to get down there. And the one thing I do want to make sure we note as we talk about Seneca One and we talk about this hack. So we get a lot of questions. What does coronavirus mean for the space at Seneca One? And I want to make very clear that the bank and the community view Seneca One as a generational investment. So when we think about COVID right now, the health and safety of our team members at the bank and of our community is the #1 priority. So right now, the bank is in the process of designing slight modifications to the space that will enable social distancing. But when we think about the broader vision of the space, whether we're in this space tomorrow or 5 years from now, we believe in its importance. We believe that it will be the foundational hub of a tech and innovation corridor that runs all the way up through Main Street supercharging some of the great innovation that's already underway, and our community partners feel that way as well. And that is why I'm so excited for this hack, especially those of you UB grads, UB students involved in this. This is your space, this is your community, and your chance to make impact with some really cool, innovative ideas. So I'm really excited to see what you come up with. But I think we're gonna open up some time right now for Q&A based on what y'all saw here. So Dave, I'm gonna pass it over to you.
So, one thing I'll kind of start off with, and I was going to ask this because but I'm glad you brought that up, Sarah, was around the impact of the pandemic, and a question people might ask is like, why would I even come to work anymore? Like, why isn't everybody going to just stay remote forever? And I would say that we all hope that we can come back, and there's a strong power in collaboration and in-person collaboration and those casual collisions. And I want to highlight something that Sarah said as well. I mean, even before this happened, the thought was not with this open floor plan to cram as many people into the space as we could. It really was, you have a seat to do your work, and then there's also one other seat for you elsewhere in the floor plan as a collaborative space. So that density is not it's not packed in as one might think with a traditional open floor plan office. There really is a huge amount of open area to do that. Now, things that we're going to be doing we have a large team actually working on this, not just for Seneca One, but also for all of our locations across our footprint. How do we bring the workforce back safely? And there's common sense things about how many people we would bring back to the office. How can we stagger them in the pods or work areas that you saw those pictures of, to enable that effective social distancing? And even things like redesigning the bathrooms to be touch-free. Those are little changes that we're making, not just to Seneca One, but every building in our footprint. So there is quite a bit of work and a large team dedicated on bringing back the workforce safely. So in case, I didn't see any question come in, but I wanted to make sure that we got the chance to really highlight that, because I think it is important on a lot of people's minds. And we'll, we want to be able to see how can we enable you guys to work effectively, but also keep the workforce safe. So based on that, let's see, what else? Did you talk a little bit more about the materials we can share on hold on, the race for place? So I know you mentioned that you had the one slide, but we do have other material or white papers to actually show you. Why don't you go through that? There at the end there was a really good infographic about some of the components that they're already doing.
Sure, and actually, I just want to confirm for those that I can see, are you seeing a PDF on the screen right now? All right, so yes, Dave, happy to walk through this. So this is a white paper that the City of Buffalo provided to us to help you all think about sort of the broader work that's underway as it relates to smart ecosystems for this hack. So if you'll see, this is an overview of Buffalo's Race for Place. The mayor announced this in February of this year at the State of the City address, and it really goes through some of the foundational efforts that are underway right now, some of the philosophy that drives these efforts, and then you can see some of the work and the design considerations for the different nodes in the city. So the Main Street Investment Corridor, which is directly applicable here to Seneca One. So you'll see some of the key projects that are already underway. As I mentioned, some of the design considerations that are motivating those projects. There's a couple of these special nodes that have work underway, so Canal Side. You'll also see here the entertainment node, the civic employment node, and talking about the knowledge corridor and some of the key land use principles as well that are impacting how we consider the knowledge corridor. And then also from Buffalo's perspective, what does a smart city look like? And you'll see a lot of what the City of Buffalo has outlined here echoes much of what Mike talked about here when we kicked off our Tech Talk here together. So I think that this ends up being a really good resource to think about some of the broader work that's already underway. And I'll also note that in February of this year, the Congress of New Urbanism came to Buffalo to host a charrette specifically focused on smart mobility within the downtown corridor. So you can do some Googling around that as well and find out about some of the work that's underway. And I also believe on the Race for Place website, there's information around some use cases too that the city is exploring. Dave, anything you want to add?
We'll have this material posted for you probably within the next 30 to 40 minutes. Just look for that. We'll put an announcement on our M&T channel and Discord, with the links to where you can find this. But yeah, we hope that this material is helpful, and it does represent things that are happening in the environment today. I did get. I'm just checking to see. Please, if you have other questions, put them in the Twitch stream chat. But I did get one other question, and Mike, I'm gonna pick on you and just say just take 2 minutes and say, like, how did you get started with M&T? What do you think? What is your main draw for the TDP program, and what excites you about working here?
I graduated with a general engineering degree in software engineering. So I was looking for jobs that had to do with technology pretty much. I was pretty broad in what I wanted to do. I really like most parts of programming and technology. And when I came across the TDP program, something sparked a little bit in me, because it was like something, hey, this is a huge company that does a lot of things that's going to allow you to try a lot of different things. And, once I got there, I kind of didn't understand how actually great it was till I was in there for a couple months. M&T Bank as a company with technology is moving towards, such a innovative and different approach to banking. And I think that being a part of that is really, really a really cool experience. And as a TDP, I'm in the center of that, really. I'm one of the first TDPs in the program. I'm in my second year, and I really enjoy it. I've learned so much. I would recommend it to anyone that is interested in a broad range of technologies and wants to be a part of something new. So yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Sarah, how about you? How did you get started, and what's your favorite part? And I know that what we talked about today is super exciting for you, but give us a little insight about something else that excites you.
Sure. So I have a very non-traditional career path. It's from tax to tech, believe it or not. So for the UB students on the line, I'm a graduate of the College of Arts and Sciences, the School of Management, and the law school. I have a JD MBA. I started my career out as a tax attorney, and after about a year of practicing tax law, wonderful firm here in Western New York, but realized that that was not the thing that I was going to be excited to dedicate my career to. And as a student at the University at Buffalo, I got the chance to spend some time with M&T's Buffalo Promise neighborhoods, and learned about M&T's dedication to continuous education, kindergarten through high school in the east side here, along Bailey Avenue, where they actually stood up and fully supported Westminster Charter School, and that's now grown to some early education programs, middle schools, and high schools. And that had really stuck with me. So when I realized that being a federal tax attorney wasn't quite the right fit for me, I went back to M&T, actually came in through there and asked questions about some of the programs that existed, was accepted into their executive associate program. So it's a little bit of a different type of training program, but similar to a specialized program like the TDP. I spent my first couple of years in procurement. I managed our third-party risk program. and then came over to technology when our not new anymore, when our CIO, Mike Whistler, joined, because he shared this really innovative vision for technology, this really innovative vision for the bank, and then of course the community. And part of that innovative vision included the technology development program. So that's why I am where I am. And I actually have this really fun job that I can't believe some days I get to do. So in addition to, you know, Seneca One and the Tech Hub, I also get to lead this team that's building out the Tech Academy. And that's truly one of the primary reasons I came over to M&T Tech. Because if you think about it, in this world, whether you're a technologist or you're a lawyer, being a continuous student is so important, and particularly in technology. They say by the time you graduate from a 4-year CS program, half of what you've learned is no longer relevant. So building out this continuous learning capability, the Academy for Tech, is exciting. Being able to then think about how it might impact the community positively, how we might introduce community members to a tech role and basic tech skills when they never thought of themselves as a technologist before, and what it could mean for Western New York. I just feel incredibly excited every day that that's what I get to work on with my team, along with a bunch of other stuff. Dave, Mike, Amy, it's just a really fun place to be.
Cool. Thanks, Sarah. So just a little bit about me. So I came in through actually our third other campus recruitment program called the Management Development Program. So that's been around since the early 80s, but we still recruit for it today. So I came in 2000. I went to Niagara University and then went back to UB for my MBA in 2007. I've been in technology my entire career, but I've moved on from different teams about every 3 years or so. I've worked with either for a different manager, a different line of business, in a different role. So I've had the opportunity to work with pretty much every line of business, with the exception of possibly our wealth and institutional client services division. But I know a little bit about every other area of the bank. What I do today is I work in enterprise architecture, which has a broad view of what our business is, what tech assets do we have, how well they do, how do they work, and we're working to stitch all of those together to really provide much better resources to our technology delivery communities, as well as helping to steer our business to make better decisions about what we should be doing, where should we be making our investments. So I've been in my current role for about 3 years, but it's what excites me about this place is just the sheer breadth of what you can learn, who you can meet, who you can learn from, and the opportunity to improve the experience for not only our business, for new folks coming in, and then how we work. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed my time here, and this is why I've been here so long, and since I've never been bored. And there's always something new to learn. There's always a new challenge to take on, and we always get to meet new folks that really feed that excitement. So this was great. Sarah, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Amy, thank you so much for your help as well. And I want to give you a shout out as well. There's a virtual career fair coming up between now and 1 and 7. Amy, why don't you just give us a little bit on that, just to tell people what to look for. Oh, you're on mute. Can you? Yeah, hold on. Okay, well, okay, so she's got a problem connected to audio, but reach out to Amy on Discord. But there is a virtual career fair. You're unmuted, so let's see. Will, can you get? Okay. Anyway, go interact with us on the virtual career fair that's happening between 1 and 7. And you could reach out to any of us on the channels.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, now you're with us. Okay, yeah, we can hear you now. Great.
Yes, exactly everything Dave said. I'm available from 3 to 7 this afternoon. I know we have a couple people from our recruiting team, Colleen and Ryan, that are also sporadically helping out for the next hour from 2 to 3, and then a little bit later. So you might get a chance to talk to the 3 of us. But again, we're really excited to talk to you guys through Handshake and answer any of your questions about internship programs, technology development program for the summer, and all the exciting things that we're doing here in technology. So I look forward to talking to you all.
Great. So I think we're all set. Thank you very much for your time, and we wish everybody good luck and happy hacking. All right, cheers, everybody.
Yeah, happy hacking. Go Bulls.